The podcast of the 50 states, the podcast of the 50 states. We're glad that you are listening. Before you do start, I am messing up this song. Please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. A review, 5-star rating and a review. So we can give you some merch. But for right now, enjoy this episode of We Got This with Mark and Hal.
Is anyone still listening?
Nope.
Hello, I'm Hal Lublin.
And I'm Mark Gagliardi.
Since the dawn of humanity, one issue has gone unsettled. With the fate of the world in the balance, we're here to settle, once and for all. Best state in the United States.
That's right. Don't worry, everyone. We got this.
Podcasts should have a theme song. Podcasts should not have a theme song. Yes, they should. No, they shouldn't. They sound good. Yeah, but people are just going to skip past it. You know what? You're right. We got this.
Mark, this is the temporary end of an era.
What do you mean this is the temporary end of an era?
This is the last time for several months that you and I will be face to face in a room recording.
Oh, buddy. It's very sad.
It's true, but it's a happy reason.
It is a happy reason.
Do you want to tell everybody?
I don't know.
If you can.
If I can.
Point is, Uncle Mark is going away for a while.
It's not prison. The way you say that makes it sound like I'm going to prison. I'm going to work.
Yeah, at a farm upstate.
I'm going to work at a farm upstate. Yes.
In a prison.
Yes.
Prison farm.
Prison farm. Coming soon to CBS.
Do you remember it used to be, they still do these like work prisons where you have like the stripe. I mean, it's orange jumpers, but like the old striped
black and white stripes and the ball and chain.
And you're like digging a ditch or breaking rocks.
Sure.
Do they still do that?
I don't know. Did we finish building America?
I don't think we're done yet.
We're not done building America. I feel like we built it. Now we have to go back through for repairs.
It's an unfinished symphony. It will never be done.
Oh, we're so poetic in this episode already.
Did not steal that from Hamilton at all. But the point is, first of all, podcast is not going anywhere.
No.
We will continue, but it's going to be like it was in the beginning where you will be, in another country this time.
I will.
But I will be in Los Angeles.
Yes.
And we will continue to record.
The lag delay will take longer. It'll be like we're on the news and it's, Hal, what do you think?
Thanks for asking, Mark. It'll create all sorts of interesting fun, but I'll tell you, we're going to have a good time. And we're doing a few more. We're in Philadelphia right now in my kitchen.
Yeah, we're at Hal's house.
Not my kitchen, my dad's kitchen.
You know what? I really like your house. I'm not as excited about the kitchen as I am about the basement.
Because the basement is great.
Yeah, the basement has pinball machines and poker tables and a pool table and a shuffleboard table.
A Miss Pac-Man.
A Ms. Pac-Man. A centipede or millipede. Is it 100 or 1,000 pedes?
It's a millipede.
Ooh, 1,000 feet.
Get out of here with your 100 pedes.
Is there a game called Centipede?
There is a centipede. That was the original one. Then millipede came after.
Does it really have 1,000 legs?
Could be. I think probably somebody stopped counting after 10.
1,000th of one leg.
It's just got one, a little hair.
He's just got one little hair that he just goes in a little circle.
We don't know if it's actually a millipede or just a worm with a hair on it.
It would be a kilopede, right? Oh no, I don't know.
That's just a really heavy worm.
Hey guys, I'm Kilopede.
That's also a bad guy from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Me, Kilopede. I'm gonna get you, Leonardo. I was also trained by Splinter.
Wait, what?
That's right. I was in the background all along and nobody noticed me.
Oh, sorry.
But now I'm going to kill you all with my pede.
You're just really upset because we never noticed you? Is that it?
I just want to be seen.
Okay, we'll see you. Come have some pizza with us.
I love pizza.
Cowabunga.
Cowabunga.
Oh, you're terrible at that.
I know.
You're a bad guy now again.
Oh, no. I'll get you. I'm going to make soup bowls out of your backs.
Wait, what? That is jarring. Did anyone ever threaten to make turtle soup out of them on the show?
I don't know if anybody did, but they should.
Or guitar picks or sunglasses.
Guitar picks.
Yeah. Guitar picks and sunglasses. Tortoise shell.
You imagine how much? Yeah, where's the Doc Hopper in Ninja Turtles?
That just wants to turn the turtles into assorted turtle-based items.
Or the Pete's Dragon, Doc Terminus. Yeah. Who comes in and says, turtle livers can make you young. Turtle shells are good glasses. A turtle claw isn't useful for anything. Not even good luck. A turtle claw around your neck is bad luck.
Is it?
It is now.
Well, all right. But that bad luck is going to hit you very, very slowly.
You won't even know it happens over the course of your life. You look back and go, that didn't work out.
Yeah. Wow. Nothing that I tried worked out. I wonder if it's because of this turtle claw I'm wearing around my neck.
There's still one nail out.
Oh no. That means I have one more ironically executed wish.
Yeah. That'll take a very long time to think of. All right. We're going to settle a few big ones. You picked this one out.
Yeah. I was very excited about this one because I thought this one seems huge and daunting and really exciting to me.
Yes. And I was like, let's do a couple quick ones so we can go see a movie.
Yeah.
And you picked the longest ones, but that's okay. We're here.
Well, I only picked one. I don't know what's the.
I'll pick one. I'll pick a quick one.
All right, but we're gonna. That's not for that episode. That's for that episode. This is for this episode.
This episode.
We're gonna
not
do
that
two.
episode.
And we're gonna do two in this.
This is
inning.
this episode, not
and
that.
This episode is best state in the union.
Yes,
there are 50 of them we have to discuss. So we should probably get started.
Before we do, we're going to give a shout out to the people who suggested this. There are two that get credit for this. Tiffany R. Yee, who did it in the Facebook group.
What's up, Tiffany?
And Kids Dr. Dave.
All right, Kids Dr. Dave. I assume a pediatrician.
Yep.
Right.
Thank you, Dr. Dave.
Thank you, Dr. Dave, for all the good work that you do.
Or Doogie Howser.
Right? Or maybe he is. Maybe he's a child who is a physician.
Either way.
Like the kid on the spectrum on The Good Doctor.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Not The Good Doctor. Is it The Good Doctor?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, isn't
Freddie Highmore.
Freddie Highmore.
Thank you.
Right?
Yes. Who's in Finding Neverland.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a wonderful film.
Sure it is. All right, let's talk about the 50 states.
Sure. Let's do it.
We're going to go alphabetically.
Because you know all of them.
And then we're going to pick contenders.
I can't wait to see which ones neither of us have been to.
Yeah.
I feel like they're going to be a bunch where I will say, I got to visit there. And if you're upset with that, you suggested this, the two of you. And that means collectively all of you suggested this.
Yeah. So if you get mad at this episode and we don't really jive with where you're from, we apologize. We're trying to make this as objective as possible.
And really you're mad at yourself because you suggested this as a group, as a mob.
All right. Let's go. Ready?
Yes.
Alabama. We're going to go pros and cons on each state. How's that work? And then we're going to decide whether they're a finalist contender.
They have a great college football team, which
they do. They have two great college football teams.
Auburn.
Yes. And the University of Alabama.
Yes. Which, my producer from Tights and Fights, Julian Burrell, is like a diehard Alabama fan. Like he's been there. They've won, I think, 500 national championships in the last 3 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's amazing. I didn't even know there were that many.
Yes.
Home of Bear Bryant.
Yes. It's also the home, this is both a fortunate and unfortunate thing, which is that it was sort of the epicenter of the civil rights movement of the 60s.
Yes.
So you've got Montgomery, Alabama.
Selma.
Yep. Letters from Birmingham. Mm-hmm. So all those things happened in Alabama. It's great that those things happened there, but it's also terrible that those things had to happen there. And there is no state in the union that is clean from some sort of white people being terrible to everybody who is not them.
Right. But there's a lot of places in the South that are going to have automatically troubled history in their con column.
Yes.
So Alabama is definitely one of them.
Yes. I think we're probably looking for a top 3. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, you've got a laptop in front of you. Just mark down the ones that we say, because we may wind up with 5 that we think are top contenders.
Fair enough. I'll do that. I'm starting a new doc right now.
Ooh, wow. You're so fast at that. It would take me 20 minutes to figure out how to start a new Google document.
Literally 2 clicks is all you need.
Yeah, it would take me 10 minutes to find each click.
I'm going to have to give you a crash course before you go away.
All right. So, more pros of Alabama. They're, Alabama. This is a pro and a con.
The band Alabama?
The band Alabama is amazing. Sweet Home Alabama is a fun song.
And a Reese Witherspoon movie.
A wonderful Reese Witherspoon movie featuring lightning glass.
Sure.
Yeah. They also have, I don't know if this is a pro or a con, mayonnaise-based barbecue sauce.
I think we can eliminate Alabama right now.
Just based on that.
Yes.
Alaska. Pros, beautiful state.
Yes.
Cons, real hard to get to.
It's super hard to get to.
Far away.
When it's one of the few states where you're like, I'm going to go cruise around Alaska. Mm-hmm. You could do a river cruise anywhere on the Mississippi. I'm sure you can do lake cruises in the Great Lakes.
Right.
But Alaska feels like almost like a foreign place,
Right.
which seems to be what's great about it.
And it's absolutely beautiful. It's stunning. The vistas are amazing. The natural splendor and beauty of it is wonderful. But on the con side, really difficult as far as resources go. As far, not natural resources, it's got
Sure.
those in droves, but as far as like, you know, a big city where you can get all the things that you need from a big city life.
Yeah, like it feels like an Amazon package would need to be dropped off like Fozzie and Kermit and Gonzo in the beginning of Great Muppet Caper, where it's just a parachute or just a box falling from the sky.
Yeah.
No parachute. They had no parachute.
Maybe the prettiest state.
Yes.
But is it a contender for a finalist?
I think it lacks the cosmopolitan side.
Yeah.
I think you want I think a winning state will have a little bit of everything.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Alaska lacks some of the cosmopolitan. That's going to eliminate a lot of states.
Mm-hmm.
It's also no, it's not the 5th. It's the 49th.
Yeah.
It was 49 in.
Yeah.
Second to last in. So it's got a lot left to see how it develops, but
Sure.
I don't think it is.
I like that they were all added in a certain order. And when they were added in that order, they were like, yes, that means we're going to get pretty far on this. We got this. All right. So no to Alaska.
Right.
Arizona. Arizona is a state that I love.
Tell everybody why you love Arizona.
I love Arizona. I did a play a couple of years ago, in Tucson and Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
And, Phoenix is not my favorite. Phoenix is just kind of a big generic metropolis. It feels like Hollywood light. It feels like LA minus show business.
Okay.
Just a big city in a desert. And there's a lot of money there. So it feels pretty sterile in a lot of places.
Mm-hmm.
But Tucson is this super groovy little, like a little miniature. Imagine a Native American version of Austin. That's
Right.
what Tucson is. It's got great music, great bars, great food. Best Ethiopian restaurant I've ever been to is in Tucson.
Yeah.
You're a stone's throw from the Mexican border. I drove down to Mexico to have lunch one day just to go to Nogales and have lunch in Mexico.
Yep. It either is the birthplace of nachos or it is right across the border from the birthplace. I think it's right
Right.
across the border from the birthplace of
I
nachos.
didn't know that. I should have gotten
Which
nachos
is just
in
sort of an
Nogales.
interesting point. I don't know
Yeah.
that it elevates it to finalist status one way or the
Right.
other.
It also is the home of the Grand Canyon, so it has some of the most beautiful landscape in the country,
Yes.
and also Sedona, Arizona. If you've never been to Sedona, Arizona, if you're planning a trip to go to the Grand Canyon, go to Sedona. I went up to the top of one of the vortexes that they have there, which are these sort of, I know it sounds a little hippy dippy, but these energy, like the magnetism works in odd ways there, but they're just beautiful and they make you feel either calm or, refreshed or, driven, depending on which of the vortexes you go to. And, I went up and I sat down on one of them and there was a woman sitting up there with her dog. She turned to me and she was like, "It's pretty incredible, huh?" Yeah. God made the Grand Canyon, but he lives in Sedona. I was like, okay, that is a beautiful way of putting that.
Yes. And then she tried to sell you a t-shirt that said exactly that phrase on
Yeah, it was crazy. The dog was wearing a cape that said that.
Yeah, sure. And the cape was covered with buttons that you could also buy.
Yeah. Arizona's an amazing state.
It also is notable because it has the second most turquoise per person in a state.
Second only to what? New Mexico?
Yeah, second
Of
only to
course.
New Mexico.
All right. Let's stick a pin in Arizona. Do you think
wanna
it's
stick a pin in Arizona? I don't think it is.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, I have friends in Lake Havasu, there are lots of very nice areas, in Arizona. I think there are other states that I would probably rank higher.
I'm just
personally.
I just really like Arizona a lot. I think it's a really pretty state.
Yeah.
All right. Next, Arkansas. Arkansas.
Yes.
The state, that borders my home state just across the Mississippi River.
Yeah.
What pros of Arkansas? It's very pretty. The Ozarks are beautiful. There's that little hippie commune up in the north, west corner of Arkansas that's just like this little, arts Shangri-La. But outside of that, I cannot really describe much about Arkansas.
Yeah, Walmart. You like Walmart? If you like Walmart, you probably like Arkansas or some part of it. Yeah, it's just, it's part of a group of states that while they're very nice and I've been through Arkansas would not
Yeah.
would not take high. That's not to say it doesn't have natural beauty. It doesn't have some areas that have more urban outgrowth than a place like Alaska. You know, we're not comparing everything to Alaska and saying that's the definitive answer to why it is or isn't a finalist. I just I wouldn't put it in a top 5.
Okay.
For states.
This next one I am certain will be in the top 3 and is a pretty good favorite for best state. And I know we have a lot of listeners all over the world, thankfully, and also all over the United States. And you're going to roll your eyes at this because this is the state where both Hal and I currently live, and that's California. You cannot deny, though, that California is one of the great states. There are beautiful beaches, beautiful mountains. It's where half of this country's fruits and vegetables come from, it seems.
Deserts.
Like every possible landscape that you want, California has.
Farmland.
Humboldt County up north. They've got, San Francisco is one of the great American cities. So is Los Angeles, San Diego. I mean, you've got, just look at the sports teams alone in California. You've got, I use that as
wait for you to talk about some of the sports teams.
I use that as, you just gave me the go on.
Yeah, I'm so
grin.
interested to see where you're going with
Well,
this.
since you mentioned earlier, like cosmopolitan areas, you've got, all right. So the NFL, you've got the San Diego or the LA Chargers, formerly San Diego.
Yeah.
The the
Rams.
Rams. You've got the Oakland Raiders.
Not anymore. They're in Vegas now.
Oh, the Vegas Raiders. That's right. You've got you knew I was going to screw up. You were just waiting.
No, I was curious. I was like, I wonder if he's going to say the Raiders because.
Yeah, I forgot about the move to Vegas.
Yeah.
You've got the San Francisco 49ers.
Yes.
Baseball, you've got the San Francisco Giants, the LA Dodgers, go blue, the San Diego Padres. Are they still around?
Yes.
Okay.
Los Angeles Angels.
The Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim featuring
Oakland
Shohei
Athletics.
Ohtani. The Oakland yeah.
Not anymore. He's on the shelf.
All right. But he was great the first half of the season.
He was.
He's going to get his Tommy John. He's going to be fine.
I hope so.
Yeah. California has Hollywood. We are a net exporter. That's rare in the United States, an industry that's a net exporter.
And also Silicon Valley.
Silicon Valley, where all of we could talk about California all day. And I'm sure we will again at the end when we're whittling down our contenders.
I've already got it on the list.
Okay.
All right. Next.
Colorado.
I like Colorado.
I like Colorado a lot.
Colorado is beautiful.
Absolutely.
The Denver airport is an absolute trip. It's got the great skiing in places like Vail. Colorado Springs is a really interesting place.
My favorite national park is in Colorado, and I'm from Tennessee where we have the biggest national park. But it's the beauty that is Rocky Mountains National Park. Everything there looks like a painting.
Yeah.
I pulled up and an elk just looked up at me like, oh, another human. And I looked at it like, oh my God, the first elk I've ever seen in my life. Yeah, Denver's a great groovy city. Is it top 5? Is the state of Colorado? Does the natural beauty? Boulder is cool.
I'm going to put a pin in it.
All right. So we've got pins in Arizona and Colorado so far. We're only up to the C's.
Go ahead. Next. I like that you're going through them alphabetically. This is purely from Mark's memory, by the way.
Yeah. Next we're going to go, we're going to put 2 together because I don't think they're going to either be in the top 5. So let's talk about Connecticut and Delaware together. Alphabetically next to each other, regionally close enough.
Yeah.
They're great places. I feel like it's where all the people with a lot of money who live in the Northeast go.
Well, Delaware is teeny tiny. It is the first state. It is also probably the place that has the most corporations because the corporate tax is so low. And then Connecticut is the home of WWE.
Yeah, because it's New Yorkers with all the money that want to go out and get big houses, right?
Right. Yeah, they're up in Stamford, Connecticut. That's where that Yankee that showed up in King Arthur's court. He's from there.
From there, Connecticut, the only state whose name is antonyms separated by a vowel.
That's right.
Yeah.
I just don't think I wouldn't put either of them in a top 5. Lovely as they both are.
All right. Now we get to a state that is polarizing, that I have great affinity for and great hesitation in.
Okay.
Florida. The state of Florida. Now let's really break this one down, pros and cons.
First of all, I feel like North Florida is going to get the short end of the stick here.
North Florida is going to get most of the
because it's not South Florida, but I will let me stand up for North Florida.
All right. My dad lives in North Florida.
It's where my wife is from and where her family is from. And I've spent an inordinate amount of time there.
Right.
Not inordinate, a large amount of time. Right. Holidays for the last 10 plus years, 13 years. I've spent in North Florida.
Right. But were you coastal North Florida or were you in inland North
Inland.
Florida? Yeah, because coastal North Florida is a lot of fun. It is like 30A going down Destin and Pensacola, and all those beaches are a lot of fun. They are full of garbage at spring break time. Don't ever go down there at spring break time. It is a nasty mess if you've ever seen Floribama Line on the Music Television Network.
Yes. But inland North Florida is a lovely place that is just different. I mean, it's the deep South.
Yeah.
So
that's definitely, that's in the con column.
But again, we can't, hold, like.
Yeah, but you can't make that, you can't cross multiply and eliminate that.
Right. I'm not saying that Alabama was eliminated because racism happened there. Cause if that was the case, then there would be no best state.
Right.
Cause it not only has it happened, but it is happening in all 50 states all the time still. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, the people that I have met there are good people.
Yes.
They're very nice. Florida also has that.
Jacksonville was, our best audience that we had on the road with Welcome to Night Vale.
Jacksonville.
Hands down, Jacksonville was our best audience.
A great town. And Florida's another highly diverse state that there are swamps. You've got the Gulf Coast. You've got the beach side. You've got the vibrant, diverse lifestyle in Miami. You've got the family-friendly Disney Center in Orlando. You have all of my relatives that retired.
All of the Northeasterners that moved down to
Boca Raton and stuff. I mean, it gets derided a lot.
Yeah.
Well, because you have the Florida man, a lot of weird stuff happens there.
Florida man.
Man.
Some insane stories come out of that state. And it's just because I feel like you cross into Florida and it just becomes like, this is a weird place. There's just a weird energy to Florida. It feels like no other state in the union to me being in Florida.
But is that a plus? Is that in itself a plus?
I don't know. You want to put a pin in Florida?
I do want to put a pin in
Florida.
I don't think it gets a pass to the finals, but I do think it's more than what I think everybody thinks of it as one thing.
Right.
But
Miami is so vastly different from Gainesville and Tallahassee, which are so vastly different from Orlando. And shout out to Disney, like you can't discount this where Disney World is. And people who listen to the show know that we're big dorky fans of Disney.
But what I was going to say was a lot of people think of the state of Florida as one thing, but you could find 3 people who all think of it as one thing and they're completely different things.
And they're all right.
Yeah.
About that thing.
Yes.
All right. So Florida's pinned.
Yes.
What about Georgia?
I think Georgia's another very interesting, town. Or
Georgia's
state.
not a town.
Atlanta's an interesting town.
It's
a big metropolitan area.
Yeah. And all of their hotels connect downtown through tunnels because it's so hot and humid in that town in the summertime.
Yes.
That you're like, I'm not going outside. If I'm at a convention and there's 3 hotels, there's a tunnel between those 3 hotels.
And it is the home of Dragon Con.
Yes.
Which is pretty cool.
Which is awesome.
The northern part of Georgia is beautiful. Like up, where Jennifer's grandmother had a cabin or has a cabin. We would go, I've been up there a couple of times and it's a beautiful area that's right near, was it the Appalachians? I think that's where
North Georgia, yeah, southern end of the Appalachians.
Yeah.
And also one of America's great cities. I'm not talking about Atlanta. I'm talking about Savannah, Georgia.
Savannah's great.
Savannah, Georgia if you've never been to Savannah, Georgia, it's beautiful. It's just live oaks with Spanish moss hanging from them, and every street dumps into a courtyard in the middle so that all the houses face it feels like just a great vibe of a city.
Yeah.
SCAD is there, South Carolina Art and Design or whatever, something like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, it is. Savannah is beautiful. That said, on the con side, Georgia Bulldog fans are super smug and a troubled history with racism.
But that's every state. It's
I
unfair
know.
to
All right.
unfair to single out Southern state. And by the way, I want to give one more plus to Alabama, even though it's eliminated, which is Huntsville, the rocketry center
Sure.
for NASA. A lot of
Decatur,
early,
Huntsville, yeah.
There's a lot of NASA development that still happens there, but that is an important state to the development of our space program. So I didn't want that to go unmentioned. And same with Florida now with Cape Kennedy.
Yep.
Also an important home for space development and research.
Absolutely. That said, I don't think Georgia's going to be in the top 5 either.
I don't think, I
And I
thought it might
apologize
be.
if there are any Georgia Bulldog fans out there. I am a diehard Tennessee Volunteers fan, and I don't like Georgia Bulldogs.
I don't know. I almost want to put a pin in it. Let's put a pin.
Oh, we're
I'm gonna put a pin.
We're only up to the G's, and we've put a pin in how many states?
4.
All right.
One of my,
Look, I wouldn't mind pinning a lot of them. I just feel bad that if we're going to pin more than we don't pin, the people from those states.
the ones with the pins are going to go away very quickly.
All right.
I already see one pin that I would delete immediately.
Which one?
Arizona.
Man, if you can keep Georgia, I can keep Arizona.
Let's get rid of both of them.
All right.
Okay, good. That's less with a pin, fewer with a pin.
Arizona, I love you.
Yeah. And I love you, Georgia. And I love you, Arizona.
I love you, Georgia.
I love
except
all
for
of
your
you
Bulldog
states.
fans.
All you state. I even love Bulldog fans. I have nothing
You know
against
what's
you.
really great? A state that I've never been to, but might already be on the finalists list.
What's that?
The next one alphabetically?
Yeah, of course.
Hawaii.
I'm already going to start writing it down as a finalist.
I mean, come on, it's Hawaii.
Yes.
You've been there. I've not been.
I've been to 4 of the islands.
Mm-hmm.
I've been to Maui. I've been to the Big Island, which I think is still suffering the effects of that active volcano.
Mm-hmm.
I've been to, Honolulu, which is, Oahu, the island of Oahu, and Kauai. Kauai, I think, is a great example of what is great about the state of Hawaii. And that you know how it works. Each island is a county in the state. Kauai has pretty much every ecosystem you could think of on one small island.
Okay.
So
you can
got
go up in the mountains. You can
like
go to the beach.
desert, rainforest, mountain. You can drive. We would were there for a week and we would start like it was sunny and warm out. And then you drive through a little rainstorm and then it would be sunny again, but then you'd head into like a jungle. It's just beautiful. They're really good with nature conservancy there. Important. The state is important to history not thanks to, but, in big part. You think of the attack on Pearl Harbor,
right? Which
is the inciting incident for the U.S. to get into World War II,
right?
There's still a strong indigenous people presence there, and this is a case. We dinged Alaska because it's too remote, and I think to an extent it works in Alaska's favor as well because they also have the Inuit people. They also have indigenous people there,
right?
Who I think I hope are being given more of a role. I don't know the politics of Alaska that well,
right?
So I can't speak on it. Hawaii neither, but Hawaii, I can't really speak to Hawaii as much either, except for what I've seen being there, and they seem to embrace their culture, both the version that you're
the Haole
sold,
culture and the you mean the
both what you're sold when you show up at a luau, which is a touristy presentation of culture, but it also is a celebration of their culture,
right?
But they're being remote. They're working hard as a state to become self-sustainable. So a lot of what used to be sugarcane fields the sugarcane is gone. They're not really exporting anymore. They do coffee, pineapple, but they're working on farming for themselves so that they're not as reliant because it's so expensive.
That's a ding. That's a ding against Hawaii, I think, is how expensive everything is there.
Sure.
One sort of political ding against Hawaii, and this has always amused me, that other countries have, colonization is a bad word. We were talking about this earlier today, actually.
Yes.
And a lot of countries have colonies and have colonized in the past. We started as a colony. We essentially have colonies now, Guam and Puerto Rico. I mean, they're commonwealths that are part of the, but like
Dominican Republic.
No, I don't think that's us.
Who am I thinking of?
But Hawaii and Alaska, just calling like them being states in the United States seems to me like if Italy annexed another country halfway around the world and called it Italy.
But that's what all of America is. It's annexed land.
Yeah, I know, but
None of it, but to pretend
because it's all connected, it feels different. Like
right.
we're like a country that has one border around the whole country, and you know what the shape of the country is. Oh, but also this chunk out here, that's also our country. It'd be like if you drive through, you're driving through sub-Saharan Africa, and you're like, oh, this little part over here, that's Portugal. You're like, well, no, Portugal's in Europe. You're like, yeah, but that's also Portugal.
I think, I don't know. I buy the argument because
all right.
That's what all of America is. It's all annexed land, no matter where it is and where it's located. This isn't another country. I mean, they're definitely a chain of islands several hours away, but.
All right.
I mean,
I had to give it some kind.
Sure. As a state, there's remote. It is expensive there. Mm-hmm. Also expensive in California.
Right.
This is another thing to note, that it's a very expensive place to live.
Sure.
Especially in the major metropolitan areas.
Yeah. San Francisco is the most expensive in the country, right?
Yeah.
All right. So Hawaii's on the list.
Yeah.
I'm trying to, every time we move to the next state, I have to try and remember the next one alphabetically.
Is it Idaho?
Idaho. It is Idaho. All I know, I've never been to Idaho. All I know about Idaho is that a buddy of mine is from there, and he used to always talk about the Weezer Fiddle Festival. And I always wanted to go to the Weezer Fiddle Festival. And one year, a couple of college buddies went up there, and I wasn't able to go. And I was real bummed that I didn't get to go up to the Weezer Fiddle Festival.
I'm sorry you didn't get to go to the Weezer Fiddle Festival.
That's all right.
But at least you enjoy potatoes.
I do enjoy potatoes.
And also,
are you surprised that the first thing that I said about Idaho was not about potatoes?
I thought you were going to say potatoes. I was surprised.
Sure, yeah.
I was surprised.
No, the Fiddle Festival. And also the potatoes.
Also, is it going to win?
No.
Okay, keep going.
Great.
Illinois,
yeah.
Oh, I'm getting good at this.
You're getting good at this. Illinois is great. It's got Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Illinois is not going to win.
Oh, no.
No, Chicago's
so
a great,
mean.
Chicago feels like it's not Illinois. You know what I mean? Like it's like you can go to Chicago. I went to school in Chicago. I lived in Chicago for 4 years, and I never saw any of the state of Illinois outside of Chicago. It's right there in the plains of the Midwest that is just vast swaths of cornfields with metropolitan areas dotted throughout. Mm-hmm. Chicago being the biggest one because it's on Lake Michigan, but Chicago as a city is one of the all-time greats. I mean, it is.
Yeah, Chicago's
beautiful.
A great city.
It's a great sports town. The people there are great. The food there is fantastic, if a little rich. But
well, it gets cold out there in the winters.
Yeah,
those
exactly.
Cold states, you got to build a little bit of a
layer of fat on you. Yeah, and the best way to do that, big old Italian beef sandwich.
Yeah, or a deep dish pizza.
Oh, I love.
Or just a nice
pizza.
Steak. Get a good steakhouse. But
Urbana-Champaign, college town in the south of the state.
Yeah, the Quad Cities is a cool area.
Yeah,
but
the coolest
agree.
thing about Illinois is Chicago. And the surrounding area.
I'll agree with that.
So it's not like, if we were going coolest city, I feel like Chicago would be a contender, but we're going best state.
Yes.
And I don't think that Illinois as a state is going to win. But shout out to listeners in Illinois.
Yes.
Chicago's awesome. And the rest of the state, I'm sure, is beautiful. I've only ever been
parts I've been to
that upper corner.
Are very nice.
All right. Next up, Indiana, home of Cleveland and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
No, that's Ohio.
Right. Indiana, home of
Larry Bird.
I can't believe I just said that Cleveland was in Indiana, home of Indianapolis.
and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
And the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Man, we have been doing
Cuyahoga River.
We have been doing shows nonstop for days, and my brain is fried. So why did we pick the most ambitious episode to do?
You did this.
I did this. Indianapolis is cool. I used to actually drive Indiana diagonally. That's why I never saw much of Illinois, was I would drive Indiana diagonally to get to Chicago from Tennessee. And honestly, I just remember it being a giant cornfield.
It is
Indianapolis is cool, and Peyton Manning is awesome.
It is a rural,
very rural state.
Very rural state. Yeah,
flat.
I love the Colts.
Yeah.
I even like the Pacers. I love Reggie Miller. He's one of my favorite trash talking athletes.
Mm-hmm.
If nothing if for no other reason than how badly he antagonized the Knicks in the 90s. If there's a 30 for 30 about his relationship with Spike Lee, that is fantastic.
All right.
That I highly recommend, but it is not going to win.
No, it's not. And I want to say this right now. There's a lot of states, in the center of the country that will not benefit from the fact that they are mostly giant farms. That said, you gotta appreciate the fact that we have food.
They are, all of these states are integral. You can't have America without
the Midwest.
All 50 states, including the ones, there is no,
you could have America without Hawaii, but Hawaii's
How
awesome.
dare you? That is our paradise. We have our own paradise state. How lucky are we? This is all to say that I know politically people feel one way or the other. We're not going to get into that at all. Suffice it to say that the United States of America are 50 states that are all wonderful and vibrant in their own way, but they can't all be the best.
Yeah.
In their own way. And they're all important.
Yes.
So this is not to say some of them are not important, but, here's what we're going to do. We're going to, eliminate Iowa, and then we're going to take a break to hear from some of the other fine shows.
Before we do that.
Yes.
Can we eliminate Kansas as well?
Yes.
Great.
We're going to hear from some of the other fine shows on the Maximum Fun Network.
The Greatest Generation is the most popular Star Trek podcast in the world.
A pretty dubious distinction, but it's true. We've blasted through all of Star Trek The Next Generation, and now we are blasting through Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
Come find out why millions of people have listened to our show and the Star Trek industrial complex ignores it.
Go to MaximumFun.org or wherever you get your podcasts and look for The Greatest Generation.
In celeb news this week, the hosts of Lady to Lady took a break from hanging with today's hottest comedians, actors, and writers to sell a sex machine. What'd they do with all that cash?
Rent a party bus to go to Magic Mike Live in Vegas, of course. All of this on the heels of a salacious Sizzler session with Home Alone 4-star French Stewart.
Want to know what the we're talking about? Tune into Lady to Lady whenever, wherever you listen to podcasts. Can you keep a secret? Neither can we.
That was really mean to eliminate Kansas like that, just as a bit. It's not going to win, but I feel like we gave Kansas short shrift. And Iowa.
I've been to both states.
Yeah.
I've visited both.
Kansas
They're
City's
both
awesome.
lovely.
Barbecue.
Yeah.
All of mine are going to be barbecue based.
Well, it's great for barbecue. I've spent time in Topeka, which is a really cool area. They have the smaller part of Kansas City.
Have you been to Iowa?
Is on that side. Iowa, you've got to give Iowa a try.
Yeah, you ought to.
Yeah, you ought to.
Dubuque, Des Moines, Davenport, Marshalltown, Mason City, Keokuk, Ames, Clear Lake. You ought to give Iowa a try. No, it's not going to win though. All right. So after Kansas comes Kentucky. Kentucky, beautiful. The bluegrass state.
Yeah. Horse Central.
Horse Central. America's Horse Central.
It's Horse City, USA.
And Louisville, Kentucky. We used to drive down to Louisville to party from Chicago because I guess we didn't want to party in Chicago. We wanted to drive to Louisville, Kentucky, like however many hours, because there was a bar there called the Phoenix Hill Tavern that we wanted to go to. This bar is amazing. I don't know if it still exists.
Right.
But this bar has it was like an Epcot of bars. You go in, it's this giant complex, and they have a jazz room, a rock and roll room, a big main stage, a like island music room, a hip hop room, and any music genre that you could imagine. This bar had a room for that. And we drove down just to go to the Phoenix Hill Tavern because it was the coolest bar in America.
Very cool.
But I don't think Kentucky is going to I feel like now it could be, is it going to beat California?
Or Hawaii.
Or Hawaii. Oh, I forgot Hawaii's on the list.
I do not think Kentucky would beat either of those states, no.
Okay.
But it's very cool. And if you want to fly to Ohio, you have to land in Kentucky. That is where the airport is.
In Cincinnati.
Yeah, the Cincinnati.
The Cincinnati airport is in Boone, Kentucky.
That's right.
What about Louisiana? Let's talk Louis.
I love Louisiana.
Louisiana's great. I only really know New Orleans.
Right.
Because New Orleans is an amazing city. No, that's not true. I drove diagonally through Louisiana.
Yeah.
It feels, most of it feels like Alabama, Like it just feels like a deep South kind of bayou thing.
Yeah. It's home to the largest swamp in the United States, the Atchafalaya.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Look at that. This is just us throwing out factoids that we know about each state.
This is what happens when you write a quiz shows. You learn a lot of fun little facts.
Creole influence there is cool. Like
It's an interesting like melting pot. It is a good example of the melting pot in a way that other places may not be. And this is really more city based. That sort of Creole, Cajun,
Right.
all these different influences all in the same state. But really, how much of that is concentrated in New Orleans as opposed to the rest of the state? And would this state be
Right.
California?
Also, they made a lot of cool movies.
Yeah.
Louisiana's been making cool movies for a while.
Port of Call, the
right.
Bad Lieutenant, Port of Call, New Orleans that
No,
you and
just
I both
because
worked on.
they did a big, like a lot of states have done, they did the big, push where they, got money into the state.
Yeah. The Ben Blacker film Drones was made in Louisiana. Yeah.
Is it going to beat California or Hawaii?
No, sir.
No. So Louisiana, you're awesome. What about Maine? We need John Hodgman here to talk about Maine.
You've read Vacation Land?
Much of it. I'm not finished with it yet.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
And it
it's
paints
great.
a very interesting portrait of Maine.
Yes.
As a
Very
beautiful
specific.
place that doesn't want you there and doesn't like outsiders there. But I went there with Night Vale. We did shows in Portland. I think Portland and Bangor. We drove through Bangor and stopped in Portland and did it. I know we did shows in Portland. And it was really cool and very nice and very New England-y. Right.
But then you go north in Maine and Maine becomes the state that really wishes it was Canadian. Like they use Canadian money.
Right.
They're like, let's pretend the rest of the that we're not part of the rest of this.
I don't think it will win, but it has great natural beauty.
Right. Another state with great natural beauty and really good shellfish, much like Maine, Maryland.
Yes.
We're going to stick on the East Coast for a little while. Let's go.
We are.
Maryland, Massachusetts. Maryland and Massachusetts are our next two.
Yes.
Maryland's got, it's got the nation's capital, that along with Virginia. They split it to get the capital. Maryland crab cakes are something special. I'm back on the food, man.
Maryland is a very,
Old
very
Bay
nice
seasoning feels very Maryland. Like that Chesapeake Bay is just gorgeous.
Yes.
And shout out to Bowie, Maryland, an awesome town where I spent a Christmas working at Six Flags.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Fun. Bowie, Maryland was fun.
Also the home state of Derek Waters.
That's right. Shout out to Drunk History's Derek Waters.
I don't know that weighs it one way or the other, just notable for that.
Yeah. What do you think?
I don't think it's a finalist. I don't know that I would even put a pin in it. I don't know that I'd even throw it up there with Colorado and Florida.
Okay.
Although it's a great state.
I do love Maryland.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk Massachusetts.
I would put this up as a finalist.
Really?
I would.
Even outside of Bill. Yeah, well, all right.
I mean, to be fair, I was just in Boston. I had a great time. It's got Fenway Park, which is the best baseball park in America.
But Massachusetts feels like America to me in that it's got one of the great cities. It's got a great baseball park. It's got some of the oldest bars in the country. Which
but there's also the other Western Massachusetts. You've got like the Berkshires.
Exactly.
That's beautiful nature. So it is. It is there is something about that state. It does seem to have a lot of cool stuff in it.
Yeah.
And
for
it
not
is
being very large.
It is different than California and Hawaii.
And it's got all the schools known for all of the fantastic universities. It's a smart state.
Yeah. I think that would put it up as a finalist. I'd be comfortable putting that up as a finalist.
All right.
How do you feel?
I'll put Massachusetts up there with you.
Fair enough.
Next up, Michigan. The state that you can tell people where you're from by holding up your hand and pointing to a spot on it. Michigan's got a lot of fun stuff.
Yeah.
I like Michigan a lot. I don't think it's going to be a finalist necessarily, but hold on, because we do have in Michigan one of the great American cities that's making a comeback right now. Detroit.
Yes.
And Detroit is crushing it. Having been crushed for a long time, now Detroit is roaring back, with Mark Evan Jackson and his, Detroit Creativity Project and other things like that, bringing, creativity to the city. Shinola Watch Company has moved in, is building amazing watches here in the United States. Like, That's a cool thing about like
Faygo.
Faygo.
If you're a Juggalo, you must love Michigan
Why is
and
that?
Detroit because Faygo soda is like the official drink of the Juggalos.
I don't know much about Juggalos.
I'm very steeped. I'm practically a Juggalo.
Michigan, but outside of, so Detroit's awesome. Outside of Detroit,
Still no drinkable water in Flint.
still no drinkable water in Flint. Come on. Let's, I know.
Which fire are we going to put out?
I know. It's,
I mean, not that we shouldn't, but that's something that we should keep paying attention to because it is something that is still happening and has not been fixed yet. But I do want to also shout out Michigan for having my favorite comedy band, which is the Youpers from the Upper Peninsula, which is called the Youpers, and they have a specific regional accent there, and a group that is like a polka-ish comedy group from the 80s, I guess, and early 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a song called a love song called Diarrhea with a video.
Oh, you sent me this.
You should go to,
and I can't unsee that video.
You should go to YouTube and
don't
watch
do that.
It.
Don't go watch a Youpers
It's
diarrhea
harmless
video.
fun. It's a way of life you're not familiar with, Mark. Don't be scared.
Diarrhea is a way of life I'm not familiar with.
Let me set it up. The guy who's singing the song has a date with a girl named Lucia, but he's not going to be able to make it
because
he has diarrhea.
Yeah. Okay. It's not going to be Michigan.
The guy farts at his mom.
Because of that, it's not going to be Michigan.
Okay, fair enough.
You know what? Michigan could have been a contender.
That was the Youpers' fault. Not
Michigan
mine.
could have been. They have Mackinac Island.
I'm going to live in my truth.
They got that whole stretch up the coast of the lakes. They got all those beautiful lakes. You know what?
The Wolverines and Magic Johnson.
You did this.
We mentioned where Larry Bird is from.
That's true.
Magic Johnson.
All right.
From Michigan.
Next up.
Lansing, I think.
Next up, Minnesota. The land of 10,000 lakes.
And one researcher for the show, Kate McManus.
Hey, what's up, Kate McManus?
Twin Cities are awesome.
Yeah.
There's also the, not the Rust Belt, is it the Steel Belt? Is that the name of it? Hold on.
You're going to look this up.
Yeah.
Oddly, if we had told Kate McManus we were going to do this episode, we decided this episode.
Oh, sorry. You have, not only the lakes, you've not only the Twin Cities, but you have the Iron Range, which is a really cool kind of.
What is the Iron Range?
The Iron Range is a collection of cities that had a great deal of iron ore concentrated there. And, it's a lot of like really Nordic, like we take a sauna where you sit there naked.
Right.
And steam out and, lutefisk is not, it's like that is all over the state.
It does feel like the center of Scandinavian culture in the United States.
Yes.
Do you know why? This was a fun little factoid that I learned a long time ago.
Tell me.
Because Scandinavia was really good at logging. They did logging for a long time, over there. And then when we needed loggers in the United States there was a big industry of logging up in Minnesota. So America sent basically headhunters to Scandinavia and said, hey, come back here and become loggers in the United States and we'll pay you well and put you up and you'll create these communities. So that's why there's so many great Scandinavian communities in, the great state of Minnesota.
I did not know that.
Yeah. Cool, right?
Yeah.
I crossed the Mississippi River in Minnesota when I was driving cross country last time.
Oh.
Crossing the Mississippi that far north is really strange. Just because it's not the mighty Mississippi.
Yeah, it's like a trickle.
Yeah, it's not a ginormous thing at that point. It's just a regular river. And you're like, this is the Mississippi. Dang, this feels weird. This took me 6 seconds to get across.
Yeah, it's cool. You can visit the source of the Mississippi in Minnesota. Also, sports-wise, it's hosted the greatest Super Bowl in history.
Mm-hmm. Which one was that?
Oh, the one that just happened.
By the way, Hal is saying this while wearing a Super Bowl 52 champions Fly Eagles Fly Philadelphia Eagles t-shirt and a Super Bowl champions Philadelphia Eagles Fly hat.
Listen, I've heard even from Patriots fans saying that was the greatest Super Bowl they'd ever seen.
And I will also say, walking around Philadelphia, everyone is wearing what you are wearing.
I know. I'm finally with my people.
The city is dressed like Hal Lublin.
The rest of the time, I'm just a dog in a world of cats. And I'm
and now you're in Dogtown.
Yeah, I'm finally with a bunch of dogs.
Oh my God. Shout out to Minnesota.
Yeah, the
Not
Twins,
make the finals,
the
awesome.
Timberwolves, like really cool sports. University of Minnesota. Also the home of the sitcom Coach.
There you go. Mississippi. Speaking of the Mississippi River, let's go all the way down the Mississippi River to the great state of Mississippi.
Yeah.
Oh man, Mississippi's rough. Mississippi it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It ranks pretty low on most of the
Educational
scales in this.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's, Mississippi needs some help, y'all.
I mean, it's, I would say the thing I would give the most points to Mississippi for.
Birthplace of Elvis.
Exactly.
East Tupelo, baby.
Yeah. It doesn't compare to these three.
But great food in Mississippi. Also another great, deep South cooking and Biloxi's beautiful. You know, right down there on the water. The southern tip of Mississippi is great.
Sure.
Most of the state is, I can't.
It's not a
say
finalist.
No, it's not. But there's great things in Mississippi. Missouri, moving up to Missouri.
Yeah.
Branson. Didn't think that was going to be the first word I said, was
That's where Yakov Smirnoff is. Now, I'm not surprised, but I guess I didn't expect it. Does that make sense?
He was in LA for a while, wasn't he? Didn't he have the Yakov Smirnoff Theater?
I'm sure he did, but didn't work there. Penny Gilley, also in residence in Branson.
Oh my God. Branson's great. St. Louis,
the
Anheuser-Busch.
larger half of Kansas City.
The larger half of Kansas City is there.
Including the Kansas City Royals.
Yeah.
They're in Missouri. Missouri.
But yeah, a great American cosmopolitan city. Along with, I don't know enough about Missouri. I haven't been through enough of it to know, what its topography is.
I think it's pretty flat.
Yeah. Missouri's awesome. It's not going to win, right? Not going to be a finalist.
Yeah.
Montana. What about Montana?
Also not a finalist.
Not a finalist.
I think there are like 3 people who live there.
It's
lovely. I actually do know people who live there. And people who are going to live there, who like have a retirement plan to move there. And Jennifer is obsessed with going there.
Yeah. I've heard that the beautiful parts of the state are beautiful. And then the not so beautiful parts of the state are terrifying.
Really?
Just because all of this, by the way, is coming from the Uber driver I had. This is our version of research for this episode. Sorry, Kate. The Uber driver I had said that Montana was scary. But much of the state is quite pretty.
Yes.
And it's where Harrison Ford has his, ranch and helicopters, right? Or is that Wyoming?
Yeah, let's eliminate that.
All right. Nebraska.
Really great Alexander Payne movie.
Yeah. Really great movie in black and white. Is the state in black and white?
Hard to tell. Well, Jennifer Smedley's in full color.
That's true.
And she's from Nebraska.
Sure. I'll tell you one thing I love about Nebraska. I drove through there when I did this big cross-country drive in the town of Alliance, Nebraska.
Okay.
On the far west end of the state.
Right.
Are you familiar with Stonehenge, Hal?
Yes.
The great Druid sculpture or clock or temple or whatever it is.
Where the demons dwell?
Yeah. Shout out Spinal Tap. Spinal Tap?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of Carhenge?
I have heard of Carhenge.
Oh, man. Have you been to Carhenge?
No, I've not.
I love Carhenge. It is, for those who are wondering, a Stonehenge made out of cars. And it's all spray painted gray. So it looks like a Stonehenge.
Exactly what you think it is.
Carhenge, yeah. Carhenge looks exactly what you think Carhenge looks like. And is great. It's another one of those parts of the country that's just big and flat and farms and necessary. But is unfortunately not the most exciting of states, except for Carhenge. Does Carhenge put it into the finals?
No. It doesn't.
Are you sure?
I'm sure it does.
All right.
We're almost an hour into this. I'm sure it's not in the finals.
All right. Are we really almost an hour in?
Yeah, we're almost an hour in.
All right. We should pick up.
You want to stop talking about Carhenge now?
Yeah. All right. Nevada. They got Las Vegas. 90% of the state is owned by the federal government. We don't know what happens in that 90%.
Bye.
Finalist?
No.
New Hampshire. I've never been to New Hampshire. I know
lovely.
Nothing about it.
It's lovely.
I heard it's pretty. Is it? Let's stick with the New England. Any of these New England ones going to beat Massachusetts?
No.
Okay. New Hampshire, New Jersey.
No.
Did you just laugh when I said New Jersey?
Yes.
Come on, man. Show some love to New Jersey.
I do show. I have a great deal of love for New Jersey. I have a ton of family from New Jersey. I think of New Jersey as being 1/3 Philadelphia, 1/3 New York, and the middle is farmland.
Yeah. All right.
And I know there's plenty of cool stuff in New Jersey. I don't think it stands up as a finalist.
What about New Mexico with all that turquoise?
Too much turquoise. It weighs it down.
Turquoise.
It's too much turquoise.
All right.
It's too much.
New York.
Yeah, it's a finalist.
Just because of New York City, though?
No, because of the entire state. You've also got the upstate New York,
Syracuse.
the farmland.
You've basically got the Hudson River,
northern New York,
and the Erie Canal.
That's central New York. Upstate is like, it's weird that upstate is like just outside of New York City.
Yeah,
it shows
that's
you
upstate.
How New York City centric it is, but it is a very diverse state.
Yeah.
Again, in terms of the different places you can visit.
Yeah, New York's
and
a
also the
finalist.
home of
New York City,
of the largest city in the country. All right.
North Carolina.
North Carolina is a kick-ass state.
Yeah, I love North Carolina. I spent a lot of time there growing up.
It's the home of our producer, Ken Plume.
That's right. What's up, Ken?
He's sitting there right now.
Listening to us talk about his home state. Hey, while Ken's listening to this, let's just make up things about North Carolina so it drives him crazy. North Carolina, the second state admitted to the Union.
To be fair, he's an Army brat, so he...
Hey, everybody, Ken Plume here. It's Marine Corps brat, not an Army brat. Thank you very much. Yeah, now back to the show.
He's only been in North Carolina for a little bit.
That's fair.
He's also from California and Virginia.
I know. I was trying to play a game, though. You just really shut my game down.
He's in a room full of Vaders right now.
You just shut my
Darth
game
Vader's
down,
a toy.
though.
Fine, I'll give some more. I'll give some facts. Go ahead, do it again.
All right. Ken Plume is in a room full of Darth Vaders.
And it's the second Darth Vader admitted to the Union.
Okay, it's not going to be North Carolina.
Nope.
North Dakota.
Nope.
Very cold. Very cold.
North Dakota is not the state that has Mount Rushmore in it. That's South Dakota.
That's South Dakota. Ohio. Home of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Cincinnati chili? Is that a plus or a minus?
It's a minus.
I love Cincinnati chili.
But they do have that ice cream place that the name of which is completely escaping me right now. It is some of the best ice cream I've ever had in my life. And
I don't know what this
it's also
is.
in Columbus. I've been to Cleveland and Cincinnati and Columbus. They were all really cool cities, that I enjoyed visiting. But ultimately, I don't think that Ohio is going to crack these top four.
Right. Ohio is important. Yeah, because of all of the big cities there. It's the biggest swing state politically. Yeah, I like Cleveland. The waterfront in Cleveland's awesome, and I like the chili in Cincinnati. But outside of that, I don't know a ton about the state. All right, Oklahoma.
No. And it's Grater's ice cream, by the way. Grater's ice cream.
All right.
In
No,
Ohio.
Oklahoma, not Oklahoma.
No,
I'm sure
Oklahoma
it's fine.
also
I went to jail
really
in
cool.
Oklahoma. I'm not picking Oklahoma.
We'll save that one for another time.
Oregon. Great state. Beautiful state.
I've never been to Portland. I'd love to go there. I know
Portland's a blast.
It's the home of Annie Savage.
Home of Annie Savage. I've only been to coastal Oregon, so I don't feel like I know enough of the other parts of this state.
I mean, it's beautiful, natural land.
Pacific
cool,
Northwest is all beautiful.
Neat cities, tech. There's tech there. But just doesn't. It's not a top four.
Right.
It doesn't fit with these top four. I don't think.
All right. You know where we are alphabetically now.
Yeah, Pennsylvania. I love you. Not a finalist.
Wow. Immediately
not a finalist.
eliminated. I'm glad you did that so I didn't have to.
You're not a finalist.
Why not?
Although
Philadelphia's a great town.
here's what's
Pittsburgh's
great
a
about
town.
Pennsylvania. It's the birthplace of the entire country.
Yes.
Philadelphia. Pittsburgh, also a great city. You've got Penn State, which is a gigantic, really cool place that
You
has
got Pamani Brothers with the fries on top of the sandwich.
Yeah, Pittsburgh, but the ice cream at Penn State is even better than the ice cream at Grater's.
Really?
The Penn State Creamery.
Ooh.
Penn State taught Ben and Jerry how to make ice cream.
Oh.
They took a $5 correspondence course from the Penn State Creamery because it is a world-class agricultural school because it's in farmland. But you do have mountains. You do have Lake Erie. There are a number of different, not ecosystem. There's a lot of beautiful land. There's skiing, but ultimately it's not a finalist.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't measure up to these other states, unfortunately.
All right.
Breaks my heart, but
Sorry,
I have
Pennsylvania.
I have to be objective here.
Now, the next state, because it is the smallest state, let's see how quickly we can eliminate it. You ready?
Yeah.
Rhode Island.
No.
Next up, South Carolina, the state that my mom lives in, home of Charleston,
Myrtle Beach,
and
all the clams you can eat.
And all the clams you can eat.
I know it's Pismo Beach. Internet.
Yeah. South Carolina is the Palmetto state. It's beautiful. It's, but it's gonna get, if other states get dinged for racism, then South Carolina should just get flat out immediately eliminated for it.
Well, I mean, I don't even think it's that. It's not even for that.
Confederate flag. They were required to take the Confederate flag off the Capitol building.
I'm saying.
So what they did was they built a flag pole that blocks the view of the Capitol building, and they put a Confederate flag at the top of the biggest flagpole I've ever seen. South Carolina is not winning.
Next.
South Dakota, contender. I know it sounds crazy.
Tell me why.
Because if you drive east to west across South Dakota, you start in the Badlands, which is beautiful. Then it just all rocks. It looks like Star Trek. Then you drive across, you get to the Corn Palace, which is a giant palace made out of corn. Then you keep driving further, you get to the Black Hills, and you get to Mount Rushmore. It's a beautiful state. It doesn't have any much cosmopolitan. I'm not going to win this, am I?
I was going to put it up as a pin. I'm going to put a pin in it.
All right, put a pin in it. It's beautiful. I love South Dakota. Next is my home state, Tennessee.
You want to eliminate it, or do you want me to do it?
Can I give it a couple shout outs?
Sure, go ahead.
Go Vols. Elvis is awesome. Nashville Hot Chicken. Music City, USA.
Are you writing in Tennessee's yearbook?
Yes. I love you, Tennessee. GLTS, which is either good luck this summer or get laid this summer, depending on what you meant when you wrote it. The Tennessee Waltz. Oh, Rocky Top. Oh, good old Rocky Top, Tennessee. I love you so much. Goodbye. Texas. Contender. Absolute contender.
I think that it will be the state that rounds out our final five, unless there's one coming up that I've completely missed.
All right. Well, let's talk about Texas briefly. Then we'll get to the others in there.
It's friggin' huge.
It's enormous. It was the only state that was its own country at one point.
Yeah.
The Six Flags. Do you know what the Six Flags that have flown over Texas are? It has been a part of so many different countries. That's where the name Six Flags
Can I try?
From. Sure. Do you know what the Six Flags that flew over Texas were? It's been part of 6 different countries.
Let me try.
Okay.
America.
Yes.
Texas.
Yes.
Spain.
Yes.
Mexico.
Yes.
England.
No.
France.
Yes.
And Dutch flag.
The Confederate States of America.
Oh. I got
Six
close.
Flags. You got very close.
Thank you.
That's
Thank
the
you
Six
all.
Flags that, yeah, everything.
It is pretty flat.
It's very
There aren't a lot of
flat.
mountainous air.
And once you get past San Antonio, there's not much going on until you get to El Paso.
Yeah, I mean, I've driven all over the state. I've been to many of the fine cities.
The eastern half of Texas is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's just Austin is one of the coolest cities in the world.
But Dallas is Dallas. I mean,
yeah, but
one
the
of the
Cowboys are there.
Oh, I know you hate the Cowboys. Fort
Everybody
Worth has
hates the
Bass
Cowboys.
Performance Hall with the big Eagles Angels on the front.
Houston is really cool.
Yeah, Texas is an amazing state and full of natural resources that we use.
Yeah.
Got the good coastline on the Gulf down Galveston and Corpus Christi, Texas, home of our dear friend Clint Culp. All right, so Texas is on there.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see. Now we've got how many do we have left? Let's see if any of these are going to win. I feel bad just kind of now lumping them all together since we gave so much time to the earlier ones.
Well, you picked this topic.
I know.
Let's go.
How far in are we?
An hour and 3 minutes.
All right, let's go fast. Utah, home of the Mormons, the prettiest state, I think.
I don't think it's the prettiest, but I do think it is gorgeous.
What do you think's the prettiest?
It's not the winner.
Hawaii. All right. See, I haven't been to Hawaii. Utah to me is, you go through Utah and you feel the size that a human should feel.
Right.
It's absolutely stunning. Vermont, home of Ben and Jerry.
And syrup. Not the home
Does
of
it beat Massachusetts?
No.
All right. Virginia, a great state, the great state of Virginia.
Ben Acker's home.
Ben Acker's home. All of the suburbs of Washington, D.C. seem to be in Virginia.
Yeah.
The Pentagon is there.
Quantico.
Big seat of power
CIA.
in Virginia.
No.
No, not going to win.
No.
Also dinged by a giant Confederate flag as you're driving south on I-95. I don't know why I get so annoyed by a giant Confederate flag. Maybe because
the war's been over.
The war's been over for over 100 years.
Yeah.
Washington. Love the great state of Washington. Seattle, I'm a big fan of.
Danielle Radford, my co-host from Tights and Fights.
That's right. Danielle Davis,
from Lady Killer. Yeah.
And my brother lives there.
And Eric Edelstein.
State
of Washington. Brady Bunch.
Our
friend,
Now we're
his
just
name is
listing all our
actual
friends.
Brady Bunch.
We don't have time to list all our friends who are from the area.
Twin Peaks.
Seattle's amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know much about the rest of it. Tacoma's nice.
It will not win.
Mount Rainier's beautiful. It's not going to win. West Virginia. Is not going to win, but shout out to West Virginia for breaking off from Virginia when it was time to secede from the Union during the Civil War. Virginia became a Confederate state. West Virginia said, no, we believe in the Union, and seceded from Virginia. Thank you to the hardworking coal miners of the state of West Virginia.
And Huntington, West Virginia, which gave us the McElroy family.
That's right.
And is a beautiful, like West Virginia is a state.
It's mountains.
It's got a lot more to it than
Blue
you
Ridge
think
Mountains,
it does.
the mountain terrain there in
It's not going to win.
Appalachia's not going to win.
Now can we eliminate?
Sorry, we're doing these really
Can we
fast.
eliminate Wyoming and be done?
Wait, no, you forgot one. America's Dairyland.
Wisconsin.
I'm sorry, we're lactose intolerant. Eliminated. No, that's terrible. I shouldn't just immediately do that.
No, we do tolerate lactose. You're eliminated.
Oh. Home of Green Bay, the only football team in the NFL completely owned by the citizens of Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
Madison, Wisconsin, one of the great cities, gave us the Onion. Wisconsin is not going to win.
No.
We love you, Wisconsin. Wisconsin Dells, an amazing little vacation spot if you live in Chicago.
Milwaukee.
Right? What about Wyoming?
No.
Cheyenne, Wyoming is a cool railroad town.
Yeah.
Full of giant painted cowboy boots. If you've never been and seen those. And the Railroad Museum there is amazing. If you like old timey railroad, transcontinental railroad stuff, Wyoming is awesome. Not a winner.
All right.
So what are our finalists?
Our finalists are California, Hawaii, Massachusetts, New York, and Texas. You want to go one at a time? Eliminate these?
Yes.
And we get down to 2. We can do a 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Okay. You go first.
I'm going to eliminate, Massachusetts.
All right. Why?
Because
just a quick statement of elimination.
Because while it is a beautiful and awesome, sort of microcosm of America, it feels like the town of Boston and the region of New England are more important than the state of Massachusetts.
Fair enough. I'm going to eliminate Texas because it is super flat. It's just super flat, arid. It lacks the...
Sorry to all our Texas listeners.
Yeah,
it lacks potentially a lot of you.
It lacks the variety of location.
I totally thought it was going to be one of the final 2.
I thought it might be 2, but out of these 3 that are left, I didn't think Texas would beat any of them. But I do love Texas as it is an awesome state and really fun to visit.
I'm going to eliminate New York because New York is,
whoa.
I know, I love New York City. It's my favorite place in the world. That said, when I think New York, I don't think the state, I think the city.
Interesting. So that leaves us with
Hawaii and California. And I think if we count 1, 2, 3 and say them at the same time, Hal, I think we both know the answer.
All right. Ready?
1, 2, 3.
Hawaii, California. People of the world, I wish you could all go to Hawaii.
Is that how they say? Is that what a door sounds like when you open it there?
Yeah. Honolulu, Waikiki.
Stop talking about Hawaii.
Well, it's fine. The Beach Boys are from California.
That's right.
People of the world, California is like 900 states in one state, which is why it is the best state. It has mountains. It has deserts. It has the ocean. It has bustling metropolises. That is a word. Tech, agriculture. Metropola. Entertainment. Entertainment is like close to the bottom of the list of the reason why California is the state that it is, why it is so great a state, why it is the best of states. If you haven't been, come here and visit, spend a week and see how much of California.
No, don't come here.
We're
We're in Pennsylvania right now.
Well, don't come to Pennsylvania. It's not the winter. And we're full up here. There's no room for anybody else to have pretzels. They're all mine. Yeah, California is the best state for all of those reasons.
Hands down.
Yeah. Asked and answered.
All right. This topic is closed. Thank you for indulging us going through all 50 states. You guys, we made it. Great work, y'all. This topic is closed, but there are many more topics to discuss, so please reach out to us on Twitter at WeGotThisTweets, or check out the Maximum Fun subreddit, or
you can email us at WeGotThisPodcast@gmail.com, or you can join our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/WeGotThisPodcast. Thank you to producer Ken Plume, researcher Kate McManus, graphic designer Uri Kelman, and QA engineer Jen Alba.
And thanks to our musicians, Jonathan Dinerstein and Mike Furman, for our score and theme song, respectively. And thank you to you, our listeners. I hope that we did not give your state short shrift in this episode. I hope that you are proud of where you live. Obviously, or we are proud of where we live, and it's our show, so we get to say it's California. We love you. We thank you. We miss you. And if you look at the postcard on the back of any state's postcard, you will see the phrase, "We wish you were here." And we wish you were here with us right now at this table. For Hal Lublin, I'm Mark Gagliardi.
For Mark Gagliardi, I'm Hal Lublin. And don't worry, everyone.
We got this.
I don't know why I messed that up. 1, 2, 3. We got this.
We got this.
MaximumFun.org.
Comedy and culture. Artist owned.
Listener supported.